What's up, nerds? We're gonna be making a tier list for fairies. This is what I'm gonna be calling D&D adjacent or D&D-ish content. I put them into tier maker, and we're gonna sort through it and figure out which ones we like the best. I wanted to start off with an easy winner. That's right, Jigglypuff. I'm hesitant to put Jigglypuff at S tier, but like think about all of the fucking Pog moments that came from Jigglypuff.
There's the bait. He's saying, you know what?
I'm gonna put Jigglypuff right at S tier. Moving on, we've got Jorgen von Strangle. In terms of fairies, not a lot of men, but also not a lot of diversity in fairies. It comes down to this, okay? Who does masculine fairy better? Is it Jorgen von Strangle, or is it The Rock as the Tooth Fairy? This is the only Tooth Fairy that I put in this list, because it's the only Tooth Fairy that matters. At me! I never saw the Tooth Fairy movie, to be perfectly honest. I think Jorgen von Strangle is like the original buff fairy. So I gotta go with Jorgen von Strangle A, the Rock Tooth Fairy C. Because it's been done before, you know? Moving on, we've got Puck. Puck from Dota. I'm gonna put Puck at a solid B tier. I'm gonna lump him in with the Shakespearean Puck too. They're the same. They're one and the same. Could you imagine this guy doing like a fucking soliloquy? Two hearts met in the woods and they had banged it out and then fell in love with each other and then fell in love with another and then they banged it out and then they got together. Someone got turned into a donkey. I really have a loose grasp on what the storyline for A Midsummer Night's Dream is. Okay, so next we have the blue. Is she called the Blue Fairy? I think it's called the Blue Fairy. This is the fairy godmother the fairy from Pinocchio. I like that she's kind of talking into a 70s game show microphone. I think that's pretty funny. We're gonna put her at B. I'm up next. Now, there was a reason why I put myself in this list, and it's because when I was in middle school, our football team at my high school and my middle school was always terrible. The soccer team, which is what I was on, was always getting bullied by the football team. And then there was this kid, right? There was this kid who called us foot fairies every day, which I guess was a way to make fun of us at the time. But now it kind of sounds like a cool thing. Like, now that I'm an adult, it sounds like a cool thing to call someone, or to be like a foot fairy sounds pretty fucking rad. So I now identify as a foot fairy, but at the time it was like, oh, I don't have a comeback for that because we dance around a lot on the field. One day my coach caught him saying that we were foot fairies, as though he were implying that we were weak. He invited this person to come join us for soccer practice. So this big football player had to run laps with us, do conditioning for a practice. He never tried to make fun of us again. Although, fun fact, he did get arrested for a hate crime later in our high school careers. Not a fun dude. Anyways, I'm pretty C tier. I was not good at soccer at all. Moving on, we've got 3 fairy godmothers that I want to talk about here. First of all, we've got Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, the Cinderella fairy godmother. She turns things like an onion into a carriage. I feel like she turns mice into horses. You know, we all learned that it's what's on the outside that counts. Just because her stepsisters are mean doesn't mean that they aren't ugly. So it was a weird lesson to learn from that movie. I'm gonna give it a C for Cinderella. So, next fairy godmother is the fairy godmother from Shrek 2 or Prince Charming's mother. Is it Prince Charming? Yeah. For a very quick second in my brain, I thought, is his name Prince Charming or Prince Good Looking? Fairy godmother does this amazing rendition of Hero. I think it's called either Hero or I Need a Hero. I think this is it.
I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need.
Hit it!
I need a hero.
This is one of the greatest moments in movie history, I feel like. Is this song, this ending, this whole movie. It's just so good. She's a villain, but she's getting S tier, I think. Now, last fairy godmother, we've got Wanda from the Fairly Odd Parents. I mean, she carries the show. She is probably the only functioning being in that entire like the only person who has any sort of common sense in this entire cartoon. She is obviously at the top of this list. She single-handedly carried the series for years. We have two Titanias. I feel like being Queen of the Fairies, being called Titania, makes you an honorary fairy, and also she is the best of the best. This Titania, gonna go D tier. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's great, I guess. Maybe she's not great. What is Michelle Pfeiffer's vibe? Is this Michelle Pfeiffer? A lot of you are gonna get mad at me because you're like, Leprechaun. Leprechaun's not a fairy. Well, classed by some as a type of solitary fairy from Irish folklore. So here's the thing. The Trix Rabbit just wants to be included, right? The Trix Rabbit is always like, just please, will you please give me some of your fruit balls, of your crunchy fruit balls that I put milk in, please. The kids are like, you fucking idiot. Rabbits can't eat crunchy fruit balls. And then this guy's fucking like, kids cannot eat these marshmallows. Lucky the Leprechaun's a real asshole. Yeah, he's going in the asshole tier. Navi, fucking annoying. I hate Navi a lot of times. Sometimes you forget what the controls are, and Navi's there to tell you what they are every time. When you need them, Navi is always there. So, Navi's gonna get a low C. Now, on the other hand, the Great Fairy Fountain, gives you a cool boost or a power-up. Fucking terrifying. You're getting a D, low D. Now, last on the list, Ron Swanson. First of all, does he belong on this list? Maybe. Second of all, does he belong on a lot of lists? Probably. Third of all, is he a fairy? And I think we all know the answer is yes.
Thank you for the lemonade. The asphalt will bear weight in an hour.
A-tier princess. And A-tier fairy. We're doing fairies here, right? If I left out a fairy from this list, please let me know in the comments. Let me know that I'm a stupid fucking idiot who can't remember fairies.